Hello viewers, I'm Kevin Dillon here with Nick O'Malley. We're still at Gillette Stadium. We're giving you a little bit of a recap here of the day that was for the New England Patriots here. It was a weird game. Jimmy Garoppolo was great, and then he was hurt, and then Jacoby Brissett was all right, but the Dolphins started to come back. Nick, I guess kind of what are your takeaways from today's game?
Well, today was one of the weirdest games I may have ever seen because there was a point where there was semi-serious discussion about, the Patriots don't need Brady anymore. No, time to trade him. Garoppolo's the future. And there were some jokes, but there were people on Twitter that were legitimately talking about trading Tom Brady because that's how good Jimmy Garoppolo looked. And I think this game is as good a reminder as any about why the Patriots keep spending draft picks on quarterbacks. People go, we got Tom Brady. Well, Tom Brady's been incredibly durable over the years, save for the one time his ACL got torn, but that's as good an example as any that you can lose a quarterback at any given time, and if you don't have a good one behind him, it is a disaster. We've seen this time and time again with other teams across the NFL, that if you don't have a good quarterback, you're dead. You're dead in the water. And the Patriots had a good backup in place. They've had him for a few years in Jimmy Garoppolo. They've been waiting for this contingency plan. They've had this for years now, and we're going to have another one in place with Jacoby Brissett. The timeline got updated a bit, but he looked solid. They actually appear to have a non-crappy quarterback in a third-round pick.
Yeah, and just going back to Jimmy Garoppolo, you talked about how it's so important to have a good quarterback. It looked like the Patriots did have a good quarterback. Now he's hurt. I guess what are the reports on how long he's supposed to be out?
Well, our Kevin Duffy reported that Garoppolo is he didn't have it was an injury to his throwing shoulder. He hurt it while he was getting tackled and just slammed against the turf. So he's reporting that Garoppolo doesn't have a fracture. Basically reporting that he doesn't have a broken collarbone, which is be a terrible injury. If reports are still kind of floating out there, we don't know exactly what's going on quite yet. The kind of overall time frame is people are guessing between 4 to 6 weeks is kind of the probably the most probable time frame. Heard some talk of an AC joint injury, which Tommy Kern of the CSNNE was reporting about, which realistically, if he wants to play through pain, they could bring him back within a couple weeks, but that would be kind of tricky, especially considering it's his throwing shoulder, and he needs that to throw, and not sure if they want to play through that, but they do have Tom Brady come back in a few weeks, so if they really want to win these games, they can try to get him to play through pain.
While he was in, the great game. 2 touchdown passes to Danny Amendola, a touchdown pass to Martellus Bennett, who looked great as a receiver today.
Oh, yeah.
He's not just a blocker like he was in the first game. Really good receiver. I guess kind of who stood out to you today as one of the top Patriots performers?
Well, it kind of got overshadowed because it happened early in the game, but Chris Hogan made a couple plays that not a lot of people expected him to. He made this one play where he was going towards the goal line, or the sideline, and he met with the defender, and they collided, and Chris Hogan kind of dropped his shoulder, and he just dropped the guy that was coming up to make contact with him, just absolutely flattened him. And then a few plays, either that drive or the next drive, he went up, he was going down the seam, and he went up and caught a pass between 2 defenders, took a big hit, and came out with a 20-yard gain. It's a kind of pass to see a 6'4" guy make, but Chris Hogan is, I think, 6 feet tall. He's not that big, but he shows more the downfield skills of a more well-rounded wideout, rather than he kind of gets slotted as the slot receiver type that Julian Edelman and Danny Amendola are, and he's much more of a downfield guy, and he has a much wider skill set than people give him credit for.
Yeah, well, I've seen in the comments people are already talking about who the Patriots might get at quarterback with Garoppolo potentially out and Tom Brady still suspended. I guess I know it's real early, but any idea of who maybe you would pick as the Patriots quarterback for next week, maybe?
Well, the most reasonable thing is for the Patriots to go after a guy that's been in the system before and to bring him back. Unfortunately, the Patriots had a guy that was pretty popular backup option that was on the market until recently. He was signed by the New York Mets. I'm talking about Tim Tebow. I'm kidding, but seriously, Matt Flynn is the kind of guy. He was in training camp last year. Ryan Lindley was in camp in 2014. Those are a couple guys that they at least have a base work of what the Patriots are used to running with. If they needed a stopgap solution, just a guy to prevent everything from falling apart, like a duct tape quarterback, get Ryan Lindley or Matt Flynn or someone that could easily you could just get a game plan, like, here's a simple game plan, here's what we're running. If you get a guy that can run 12 plays, sometimes that's what it really comes down to, get some runs and some simple passes down. If they can do that, that'll change a lot, because the Patriots, they're a really good defensive team. They didn't really show that in the second half, but in the first half they showed they can shut down other teams on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, for sure. And, I mean, you saw a lot of really strong defensive plays, I guess. Did anyone stand out on defense as a guy that really had a good game today?
Chris Long. Chris Long has been great. He was great in the preseason. He hasn't had the sack numbers or the big splash plays to show how big of an impact he's had, but he's regularly been in the backfield, and he had a couple quarterback hits. He was the guy that pounced on Ryan Tannehill when that fumble got past him, and he was regularly the guy flushing Ryan Tannehill. Now, Tannehill had a habit of getting away from defenders and getting into the open field, but they made sure he wasn't comfortable in the pocket, and they at times they hit Tannehill and they made him uncomfortable. They made him. Tannehill's a guy that can be effective when being flushed from the pocket, but they have some pass rush. It didn't quite get there today, but it's good signs overall.
Yeah, when we saw our first glimpse of Mingo today, which is really exciting. That guy has some good pursuits. But I was going to ask, there are two real highlight plays today. One, Martellus Bennett stiff-arming, who was that? Maxwell.
Ryan Maxwell.
Play. But then Maxwell got hurdled by LeGarrette Blount as well. Which one do you think was better?
Byron Maxwell there's a number 41 jersey just like emblazoned in the turf, just got eviscerated, like rip Byron Maxwell. I think the stiff arm, because LeGarrette Blount's done the hurdle thing before and it got him a few more yards, but I think just like the stage of Martellus Bennett's stiff arm, he was wide open and the only guy within about 20 yards was Byron Maxwell, so it was a one-on-one matchup. And Martellus Bennett had a defender in front of him. He just made him vanish. He just stiff-armed him into oblivion. And they just kept rolling for like 10, 15 more yards. It was magical to watch because there's few more open showdowns than one-on-one and no one even close to him. LeGarrette Blount was on the sideline, so it didn't stand out as much. It was just an open stage, just a tragic play where Martellus Bennett just put Byron Maxwell down into the ground in the third act and just closed the play and just left him in the dust behind him.
Yeah, I was Martellus Bennett after the game. He was talking about those two plays. He called. He said that timing was really important in a stiff arm, and it's kind of like blocking a basketball shot. He said that play was a little bit like Kemba Mutombo. But then he was talking about LeGarrette Blount's hurdle. He's like, man, this guy, he doesn't look like he's a guy that can do that. And then suddenly he gets it like that. And Bennett called LeGarrette Blount like Bambi. I'm pretty sure that might be the first time that LeGarrette Blount has been compared to Bambi in his life.
I mean, LeGarrette Blount may be the only running back in the NFL that weighs as much as an adult deer, so that may be more accurate than Martellus Bennett was joking about. But we make this joke a lot of times that LeGarrette Blount is a 250-pound power back in a 190-pound receiving back's body. He's just crazy to watch. And every time you see him, like, oh, there goes LeGarrette Blount running into his lineman's back for a 1-yard gain. He gets around the edge, hurdles a dude, gets 25 yards. And they go, oh, that's why they have that guy.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, it's the week's over here. The Patriots are 2-0. I mean, coming into the year, a lot of people were talking about how 2-2 would be a success for the Patriots. I mean, it's the team is looking like it's pretty banged up right now. But what do you think? 2-0, very good success?
If you told me that Jimmy Garoppolo got hurt halfway through it, and the Patriots didn't really have Gronk to work with, Dante Hightower is out, Nate Solder missed a game, Dion Lewis was out the entire time, and the Patriots still went 2-2, I would have taken it. If you told me the same circumstances, oh, you got Jacoby Brissett, but Jimmy Garoppolo's probably going to be fine in the long term, maybe he's out 6 weeks, and the Patriots only need 2 more weeks until Tom Brady comes back. So if Garoppolo's not a season-ending injury and they can get him back later on, and if Tom Brady goes down after 4 weeks, then the Patriots have whole other issues to work with. But if they have Garoppolo back, they can live with that. Everything that's going on right now that's injury-wise, they can live with. Maybe the Dion Lewis thing and Sebastian Vollmer, they might never not come back to 100% this season. But everything other than that, they're 2-0. They're very winnable games coming up, so I think they would take that. They're a pretty darn good position considering the challenge they had heading into the first 4 games.
I think I saw Texans had a good win today, and they're going up against the Patriots on Thursday. Short week for the Patriots, probably the worst time for a short week with the quarterback's position in shambles. A lot of guys kind of trying to get healthy here. I guess, what can you expect from the Patriots they've got 4 days until their next game, really, pretty much. I guess, what can you expect from the Patriots on Thursday night against the Houston Texans?
I think they're going to run the ball a lot. They're going to do a bunch of screen passes, and they're going to try to do whatever they can to make sure that they make the game plan as easy as possible for Jacoby Brissett. They don't want him throwing it 30, 40 times. They're going to try to get him to get rid of the ball in the slot, or screen passes out wide, real quick passes to Julian Edelman, the quick receivers, and dump offs to the running backs. They don't want him doing 7-step drops and chucking it downfield. First off, the Patriots aren't particularly great at that. That's not what their offense is predicated for. And they don't want a rookie quarterback shouldering the load. Fortunately, the Texans won't have too much film on Jacoby Brissett to work on, but they'll have some. And they have J.J. Watt. You don't want J.J. Watt pile driving your rookie quarterback into the ground, especially when you don't have another guy behind him.
So Julian Edelman.
That's another thing. The Patriots refuse to admit that Julian Edelman was their emergency quarterback. Everyone knows Julian Edelman is their emergency quarterback. I mean, it makes sense that you don't want to admit to the team about to face, hey, game plan for Julian Edelman as the backup quarterback, so don't admit it. But if the Patriots didn't have him as the emergency quarterback, that'd be kind of weird. Maybe someone's a good quarterback in this roster that we don't know about. Maybe like Nate Solder has great footwork and he has the height. Or maybe Gronk. Who knows? He can spike it. Maybe he can just spike it forward 40 yards for a pass. That's basically what passing is.
Well, I mean, Martellus Bennett was saying that he can't throw worth a damn. But, I mean, they do have A.J. Derby on the roster.
A.J. Derby is another former college player. I forgot about that till now. So he did play quarterback more recently. He didn't have the same sort of success at Arkansas. Didn't really start, but that's another guy. A.J. Derby's a guy. He can play.
They've got a few former college quarterbacks on the roster, so it'll be really interesting to see what the Patriots can do over these next few days. I'm sure there'll be a lot of news breaking and a lot of coverage from Mass Live, so be sure to check in on masslive.com/Patriots for all of our Patriots coverage. We'll have more from tonight. We'll have more tomorrow, and thanks for watching this video.
Thanks, guys.